Final Fantasy XII is certainly one of the more unique Final Fantasy games. I've played nearly all of the mainline entries, and none quite come close to what this one does. There's so much going for this game, so much to love about it. And yet, there's some stuff I can't shake off about the experience, like well, we'll get to that later. Today we're going to break down Final Fantasy XII and rank it against all the other games I've played so far. Welcome to Best RPG Ever. First up is the aspect of the game that drew it to me the most, and considering this is an RPG, you'd think it'd be the story or the characters. But no, I was drawn to Final Fantasy XII for the gameplay, almost wholly because of the Gambit system. Gambits in this game are actions you can set up for your whole party and have them be triggered conditionally during battles. For instance, you can set it so that when there are more than 3 enemies around you, your mage will use an area of effect spell, or have it so that when one of your party members dies, you use a Phoenix Down. You can get much more granular than that. Look at all these conditions you can set, just so many of them. I'm generally not a build crafter in games. I usually try to get through the story with as minimal effort as possible put into crafting a strategy for battles. But it's fun here. It's almost like a logic puzzle. You'll have some spells and attacks you want your party to use, but you have to find the right conditions to trigger those. For example, steal is a really useful tech in this game. You can tell one of your party members to steal items from every enemy they come across. But if you do that with this gambit here, then they'll just keep repeatedly stealing from them, even after they successfully take an item. So you gotta set it so they only steal from foes above 90% HP or so. I had my healer of the party doing my stealing, but healing is more important to me than that, so I put the healing gambit above the stealing gambit, so she makes sure everyone is healthy before taking items. And if there are no enemies above 90% HP nearby, she'll start attacking. That's just one consideration for one character, and there's 12 slots per character. You can have your little party members thinking about a lot in battle. I'm remembering my days of playing Persona 3 FES on the PlayStation 2. You couldn't tell party members which actions to use in battle. You had to rely on their AI. You could have them lean towards certain tactics, like conserving mana or something, but they're deciding what to do on their own outside of that. It was frustrating because you could have a plan in your mind that you'd want to execute, but your party wouldn't be on board with you. They had their own plans. In Final Fantasy XII, you tell your party exactly what to do. No hoping that they don't use the wrong spell at the wrong time. And yeah, plenty of other turn-based RPGs had you directly controlling party members. Final Fantasy games were all about that before 11. But having that extra layer between you and what your party members do make it interesting. You have to think beforehand about your plans in battle, what character you want to fit into what role and how they should act. And hey, if shit hits the fan, you can tell them to directly do certain actions anyway. It's the best of both worlds. I am truly fascinated with the Gambit system. I want to check out Disgaea 6 and 7 because I heard they had something similar. Let me know of any games you know about that have something similar in regards to programming party members in an RPG. I also like the license board. It's kind of a skill tree for you to go through and unlock stuff for your character. Every character starts out roughly the same in what they can do, and unlocking stuff through their license board is what makes them unique. Like unlocking the ability to use certain spells, weapons, armor. It's fun to notice something I'd like to unlock far away on the board and plotting the best route to get there. Having this as a separate progression system outside of XP and gear to buy with gold is neat. As for stuff I didn't like, there's a few things. This is kinda small but really genuinely annoying. The quickening system is so painful to use. I think it's cool in concept, it's like a limit break type thing. Having these super powerful attacks that you can throw out every now and then is fun. But man, do these attacks take so long to come out. There's animations you have to watch for each attack, and you cannot skip them. You can chain like 10 of these together if you're lucky. You can do a lot of damage, but by God, you'll be sitting for a while just watching Fran do the same attacks over and over. I stopped using them at a certain point because I hated the animations. I'd rather do less damage in battle than sit through all that. They break up the pacing so much. Side content in this game is peculiar. Hunts are the main thing for you to do outside of the story. They're short little quests that involve you going out into the world to kill a powerful monster. I think that's fine. I didn't go after all of them, but I did enough to where I was satisfied. Alongside that, there's a good amount of unmarked side quests for you to find. I specified unmarked because that's really important. Almost every RPG I've played that has traditional quests has a log for you to see them all in. Sometimes it'll give you a direct waypoint to follow, other times it'll be vague directions and that's it. But the point is, there's usually some indication that you've started something and that there's something to be finished. At some point, this short side adventure will conclude and be taken off the list of active quests. There is no log or journal for quests in this game. And you might call me a zoomer for this, but that kind of annoyed me. I don't mind a game not using waypoints. I've been playing The Elder Scrolls III Morrowind recently, and that game doesn't use waypoints. You have to rely on the directions people tell you. And sometimes quest givers don't even give you that. You'll have to ask around town where someone or some place in particular is. But you know what that game does? It gives you a journal where all relevant details are automatically added. As soon as an NPC tells you where to go, your character immediately writes that down and you can look it up whenever and wherever you want. If you're halfway across the map and forget where the NPC told you to go, you can whip it out real quick. You cannot do that in Final Fantasy XII. I kinda respect it. It's even more hardcore than Morrowind, and that's something I never thought I'd say about a Final Fantasy. Maybe the developers want you to take physical notes on the quests given to you. I didn't even consider that. Maybe that would have made quests more enjoyable. But I don't know. I still prefer to have just a plain old screen I can go to that lists all my active quests and all the relevant information about them. The game doesn't have to give waypoints, just let me read up on what the NPC first told me. This upcoming critique might seem weird, but stick with me for a moment. I think I can convince you on this. I really don't like that you can speed up gameplay in FF12. In one of the earlier re-releases of this game, they added the ability for you to speed up the game 2 times at the press of a button. And then in the HD remaster here, they let you bump it up all the way to 4 times speed. Look, I get it. It's convenient. There were points in this game where I sped things up 2 or even 4 times just to get some levels in. You can mindlessly grind like no other game in FF12. But it's just that, mindless. Having the option to speed the game up 2 or 4 times so easily kinda breaks the experience. I probably wouldn't have even thought about this before making this YouTube channel, but my most popular video series is about stopping and smelling the roses in games, about slowing down and noticing things you didn't before. You don't notice anything when you're playing at 4 times speed. I've been making an effort to kinda chill in my life lately. Don't browse social media so much, don't mindlessly watch YouTube videos until my eyes hurt, maybe even read a book every now and then. I feel like humanity's collective attention span has decreased over the years because we take things so fast. We have to be maximally stimulated at all times. Can't have us be alone with our thoughts for 1 second. And while playing Final Fantasy XII without speeding up isn't meditation or anything, I feel like it makes for a better experience. This is a world meant to be enjoyed, savored even. If you decide it's time for some grinding, why not look around the environment and take it all in, instead of turning up the game speed and just watching the pretty colors flash? I know it's just an optional thing, but having it as an option at all feels like a disservice to this as art. The fact that you're always tempted to press that left bumper just so you can walk down this long corridor a little faster, it kinda taints the experience in my eyes. Not a lot, mind you. Just enough to make me wish there was an option to permanently disable it when making a new game. Though they should make characters walk a bit faster, I'll say that much. Next up is an underrated aspect of RPGs, the pacing. It takes a lot of thought and planning to keep a player engaged in a genre where playtimes go into the dozens. How did they do here? I was genuinely convinced I was playing one of my new favorite RPGs when I started this game. Everything about it came together so well. The world, the art style, the writing, the vibes, they knocked it all out of the park. Rabanastre felt amazing, and exploring all the deserts that connected to it, it was so cohesive. I hadn't really played a JRPG like this before. It was speaking to me in a way I wasn't used to. But then, slowly, hour by hour, the game started to lose me. I actively took note of that. I found myself missing the vibe from the beginning of the game. It kind of reminded me of the Lord of the Rings movies. Don't get me wrong, the whole trilogy is great, but my favorite part of all of them is the first 45 minutes of the Fellowship of the Ring. Spending time in the Shire is so cozy. The sense of adventure later on is engaging, but the warm feeling I get from being in the Shire is the high point of the trilogy for me. It's like that here too. The opening third of Final Fantasy XII worked so well for me. That's what I'll think about in perpetuity when reminiscing on this game. I'm not going to remember any of the details from the latter thirds. The plot just kinda lost me. Speaking of the plot, let's talk about the story and the writing. This is weird, because as much as I just poo-pooed the game for losing me partway through, I feel like the story is quality. The writing is top-notch. I think this is mostly what contributes to this game feeling unlike any other RPG I've ever played. The moment-to-moment dialogue is written so well. I've noticed a lot of people still kinda have a bias against JRPGs, and even though I don't like that people still think like that in the Big 25, I can see where they're coming from. JRPGs sometimes have a bad habit of being real tropey. Kinda hard to put into words what that means, but it's a when you see it type thing. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 has that feel. And I know people love the story, I'm sure I will when I play it, but you can't deny that it's got that anime feel. Even games that I love, like the original Xenoblade Chronicles and Final Fantasy VII Remake, low-key have that feeling too. But Final Fantasy XII doesn't. The way characters speak is wholly unique. And not just the writings of the lines themselves, but the direction. The voice actors knock it out of the park, and the people directing them helped guide that performance. I can't say I ever considered direction for voice actors in a game before, but it's so good here that it made me think about it for once. It really immerses you in the world, everyone's speaking like they do. The story itself, honestly, it didn't do much for me. Like I said earlier, I think it's quality, but I couldn't go along for the ride with it. I just wasn't invested in the plot happenings. I thought there were some good moments sprinkled in there, but the larger journey the characters took was whatever to me. I guess that leads nicely into the characters. I just praised the voice acting, and I think that goes a long way to making some of these characters so memorable. Balthier and Fran are obvious standouts. They're such a great pair and almost feel out of place in the game for just how good they are. Vaughn and Penelo I didn't really vibe with. They definitely have some stuff to do plot-wise, but they aren't super interesting internally. I don't find their struggles and motivations compelling. Which is unfortunate because Vaughn is the player's surrogate. He's your window into this world. But I just don't think what he goes through is that engaging. It's kinda sad that some party members just have nothing to do throughout the game. Final Fantasy VII found time to give all its characters super meaningful moments of growth. I don't feel like Penelo grew in any meaningful way. Or Fran, or Vaughn. That's what I look for in an RPG. I want to have scenes where characters experience something that changes their life, where you no longer look at them the same throughout the rest of the game, where they truly grow. Characters in Final Fantasy XII don't do that in my eyes. With that being said, you might think I hate this game. If I'm not a huge fan of the plot or the characters, what more is there to enjoy? Welcome to the final section, the other stuff. This is where we talk about an aspect of the game that doesn't quite fit into the other sections. You know what this game has? What defines it from every other Final Fantasy game out there? Authenticity. I briefly alluded to this earlier, how early on into my playthrough, everything came together so neatly in my eyes. The world, the characters, the plot, the writing, the music, the lighting, they all work together. No one aspect feels out of place. It all feels right. It has texture. The world of Ivalice feels authentic. There's so much detail to find everywhere. I'm reminded of a point I made in a video talking about Grand Theft Auto San Andreas some months ago. I pointed out how buildings will seemingly appear detailed as you're driving by and paying attention to the road, but once you stop to look at them, they're just one flat polygon with a nice texture on it. The texture gave the building depth at first glance, but it's truly just flat. No building is flat in this game. There are so many intricate details to every structure you'll come across. There's so much going on geometry-wise. It feels genuine. And then all the people. There are so many generic NPCs you can talk to throughout this game. Towns are full of them, bursting with them, really. So many people with something to say about the goings-on in the plot, something relevant to the town you're in, or just something goofy to catch you off guard. The only other game I can think of that does something like this is Xenoblade Chronicles. Both of these games try to break through your mental block of perceiving this as a game world. They want you to see it as a real place where you could hypothetically talk to just random people out in public. Even if you choose not to talk to any of them, the illusion is there. They would have something to say if you just asked. Even if I have my problems with the plot or characters or whatever, the world as it exists is so strong. I cannot deny that. Much like Xenoblade Chronicles X, the world is the heart of this game. And with that, it's time to get ranking. How does Final Fantasy XII compare against all the other RPGs I've played so far? Actually, it's not even a question for me. It goes right between Earthbound and Xenoblade Chronicles X. While I did truly love just being in this world, existing in it and soaking it all in, the game didn't do much for me outside of all that. The world was awesome, and the moment-to-moment gameplay was fun, but the characters weren't the best, and the story lost me at a point. Unfortunately, that's what I truly look for in RPGs. Sorry, FF12. It's still pretty good though. There's a sizable gap between this and Xenoblade X in my mind. And just for reference, there's a massive ocean-wide gulf between that and .hack GU. We are done with Final Fantasy XII. It's been a journey. Glad I finally got around to playing it. As for what game will be covered next on the channel... Oh, you know what? I just bought a ticket for some show on Christmas Eve. Super excited to see it. It's an opera. Better remember to bundle up, it'll be cold out. I'll definitely want to stay toasty in there. See you next time, Pretizens.